today. May is a busy and exciting month at DHS. I think that goes to say all months are busy and exciting, but May is especially busy and exciting. We have several important projects and initiatives happening right now, but one of the most important is Foster Care Month, National Foster Care Month. It's a month dedicated to highlighting all the ways that we and our partners are working every day to improve the foster care system in Arkansas for the children, for their families, for foster parents, and for our staff. We are so fortunate to have the leadership of Governor Sarah Sanders in that effort. Since the day she set foot in office, she has been a champion for children and families. Mom of young kids with lots of stories to tell. She has celebrated and supported children and children's issues from the very beginning. In fact, in education, in protecting our children, and in signing an executive order within her first 60 days to establish Every Child Arkansas, which is what we're here to celebrate today. We are so proud to work with Governor Sanders on finding smarter, more efficient, and more effective ways to impact the children and families engaged in our foster care system. We know that all children, if they can't be in their homes, deserve to be in a safe and supportive home. Please help me welcome Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders.
Good morning. What a great group for a Monday morning. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you, Secretary Putnam, for the introduction, but more importantly for the incredible work that you do, not just on this issue, but some of the most difficult and challenging things that are facing our state. You have an incredible team here at DHS, and we are so grateful for the dedication of each and every one of you. I know we're also joined by several members of the legislature, some of whom are actually foster and adoption parents, but all of whom are supportive of our foster families across the state. So thank you so much for being here and for your work on this issue. As you know, May is National Foster Care Month, and I'm thrilled to be here to help kick it off with many of our state's hardworking foster care advocates. We've accomplished a lot since I took office, but I know that we still have a lot of work to do. This issue is very personal to me, not just as the first mom to serve as governor of Arkansas, but also as someone who has had the opportunity to see firsthand with my own eyes the amazing impact that foster families can have on our state's most vulnerable kids. Just a few weeks ago, I was in Russellville visiting Crawford Elementary School, and like every school visit, the kids have hundreds of questions. Some of them are pretty easy and I can answer relatively quickly. Every once in a while they throw you a curveball. That week I had a little girl that came up and said, "Do you know my grandparents?" And I'm thinking, you know, Arkansas is a pretty small state, but I don't know that I know everybody's grandparents. I think I could be forgiven if I didn't know one or two. But then she told me her grandparents' names, Lori and Willie Johnson. And outside of this room, a lot of people may not know who they are, but Lori and Willie Johnson are heroes. They have 4 biological kids, and since 1980 have adopted more than 24 other children, all of whom have special needs. These kids have been written off by doctors and society in many cases, but in Lori and Willie's case, they absolutely thrived. Their story started when Lori saw a boy in a wheelchair in a Wednesday's Child newspaper ad. Once they saw a need that their family could fill, they never stopped. Families like that are why we are here today, not just to celebrate our foster and adoption families, but also to encourage others to take part in our state's foster system. Because as much as families like Lori and Willie have done, there is still a lot of work that we have to do. That's why at the very start of my administration, we partnered with Every Child Arkansas and nonprofits and advocates that they represent. Over the past year, this group has made major headway on improving our state's foster care landscape. They've streamlined the process to become a foster care parent, helping children in need find a home faster. They've also broken down silos between the nonprofits and state agencies that make our foster system work. And they're a growing presence at events like this one, online and across the state. A newspaper ad that Lori and Willie saw back in 1980 should not be the only way that somebody in Arkansas finds out about a child in need. Despite the fact that there's work to do, Every Child Arkansas has worked hard to bring our faith-based communities into the fold, and they've had great success. Today, we're expanding that focus to healthcare facilities, schools, and businesses. And I'm asking leaders in all of these industries to join us in addressing this great need. You can start by highlighting your employees who are foster parents. One of my staffers and good friends that's here with me today, Jamie Barker, alongside his wife Allie, who are somewhere hiding in the back, have been involved in foster care advocacy for years and opened their home to 3 foster kids who are now permanent members of their family. I'm sure each of you has a similar story to tell from your business or your organization, and now you can connect with Every Child Arkansas as well. I know they're happy to do the legwork to share foster information with your team, and you can make it easy for your employees to help foster kids. In Arkansas state government, we added foster families to our parental leave policies last year, and I encourage every organization in the state of Arkansas to do the same. The need for foster families in our state can be overwhelming, but the reward is much greater. So many children have found loving, caring homes through our state's foster families, and I know that this group's work will do even more soon. Thank you to all of the families and advocates for joining us today, and happy Foster Care Month in Arkansas. I will now turn it over to Tiffany Wright, our Director of Children and Family Services, who can talk more about our new initiative. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you for your commitment to helping us take care of Arkansas's kids. Thank you all.
Thank you, Governor, for your leadership on this very important effort. Good morning. I'm Tiffany Wright, Director for the Division of Children and Family Services here at DHS. And like you heard the Governor say, it's National Foster Care Month, and it's a perfect time to launch a new campaign that makes a concerted effort to engage 3 groups of people that we believe have a real impact on the lives of children in our state. Our goal, in partnership with Every Child Arkansas, is to have more than enough foster homes across the state with emphasis on older youth and also large sibling groups, because we believe every child in our state deserves a safe, stable family every day. Today, I'm asking for you to get excited, collaborate, and walk alongside us during this campaign effort. And like you heard from the Governor, we're focused on these 3 groups: education, healthcare, and businesses. Our ask to the professionals and their leaders is to first join us on this effort and then celebrate, support, and inspire. Celebrate our current foster parents in each group to show that it is possible to be both a dedicated, valued employee and an amazing foster parent. You might want to highlight these parents on your social media or internal newsletters, and you can use our super cool new tagline, "We can do it, you can too." Support foster families in their specific profession by affording them the same flexibility and benefits as other parents. And inspire others in each group to become foster parents just like their colleagues. Just a few weeks ago, a school counselor took in a sibling group of 5. That commitment allowed those children and youth to remain in their school with familiar faces connected to their community. Can you imagine the impact? You enter foster care and you get to stay in your community. You're not moved across the state to a stranger foster home. You're staying with someone you know, someone who cares about you that you were already seeing on a daily basis. Or on a more personal level, when I was a frontline family service worker, I had a doctor in the community that stepped up and helped both parent and the child in foster care on a very complex and medical case. The knowledge that doctor brought impacted our case so that we could make good, impactful decisions for that child in the case. These are just some small examples of the critical roles that these professions play in the lives of children, and why DCFS and Every Child Arkansas is asking for leaders in these professions to celebrate and support, and inspire. And because our kids deserve all of our best efforts, I'm honored to introduce our next speaker because we definitely cannot do this alone. Please welcome from Arkansas Baptist and Children and Family Ministries, Dr. Derek Brown.
Thank you, Director Wright. As we turn our attention to the children in foster care this morning, I'm reminded of a conversation I overheard on Thursday morning. So I was walking into our Catalyst coffee shop there at a central office on Markham Street. I saw 3 young children there having hot chocolate. It didn't take me long to realize these are three siblings in foster care waiting on a visit with their family. And they're talking to their caseworker. On the wall is a piece of the heart gallery for some harder to place children who are waiting for adoption. The youngest boy looked up and he said, "Are those foster children?" A few minutes later, he asked the question, "Are we foster children?" And I thought, there are identity-defining moments happening right now as he understands who he is in relation to the situation that he's in. Just a couple minutes later, I heard his older sister counting, and I look over as I'm making my cup of coffee, and I see her 1, 2, 3, all the way 29, 30, 31. I had never counted the number of pictures on that wall, but apparently there are 31. And here's what she said next. That's 31 kids who are going to get adopted. Some of those kids have been waiting for a long time. But I thought at that moment, they're counting on us. To see that little girl's face and to know that she is counting on us. She's counting on our church leaders to make that happen. She's counting on our business leaders to make that happen. She's counting on our healthcare workers to make that happen. She's counting on you, our educators, to make that happen. She's one of 3,634 children who are counting on us today to make something happen so that they can get to permanency, to provide a safe and loving foster home while they are in a state of transition, while they can't live with their biological families. But it's deeper than that. Not only are they just counting on us, but I realized at that moment, she believes in us. She believes it's going to happen. I don't know about you, but I don't want to be the one to let that little girl down. She sees things like this and she believes that it's going to happen. She trusts that she's going to be taken care of. She trusts that those kids on that wall, because we're saying they're adoptable, you know what? She believes they're going to get adopted. She believes in you, Arkansas. She believes in you, church leaders. She believes in you, business leaders. To her educators, she believes in you. To the healthcare workers who have the opportunity to make a difference, she believes in you. And so a final word to our 1,388 foster families who said yes, who said we will make a difference, who said we will take one of the hardest challenges and make a difference where it's needed most. Thank you. Thank you for giving children like this little girl and her 2 brothers a chance to believe in something, a chance to believe in hope, the knowledge that there are people out there who will make a difference, who will protect them. We will fight for the children and families of Arkansas. I am so proud to represent Arkansas Baptist Children and Family Ministries and our ministry, Connected Foster Care and Adoptions. And bigger than that, I am proud to represent Every Child Arkansas, because I realize it takes more than me, it takes more than our organization, it takes all of us working together. And that's what this is about. Together, we will fight. Together, we will give children like that little girl something to believe in. She's counting on us and she believes in us, along with the 3,634 other children in foster care today. They are counting on us. They believe in us. Let's make a difference. Let's fight for them. Thank you to our foster families for fighting. Thank you for doing the hard work. You are making a difference. To the others out there who can do this, please don't wait. There are children waiting. They've waited long enough. Let's rally together and make this happen. We will fight together and make a difference. Now I get the incredible opportunity to introduce to you one of our foster families, Jordan Summers, a fierce advocate for foster children.
Can y'all see me? Whew, y'all feeling it? My name is Jordan Summers, and first I want to say what an honor it is to stand here right now, not just with our state leaders in this work, but in front of you guys, our fellow Arkansans, neighbors, friends. And such an honor to get to speak from this platform on a topic that transcends, or should transcend, any political affiliation or personal agenda. To get to speak on a topic that I honestly don't think there is a topic more important than this to be spoken from the highest platform to the most people with the most passion. And that is the kids in our state longing for a safe place to call home, longing for safe people to look them in the eye and say they are worth something and they are loved. So my husband is an ICU nurse, I'm an educator, and we started fostering about 10 years ago. At the time, I was director of Pediatrics Plus Developmental Preschool. We had about 150 students, but at any given time, guys, we had up to 20 kids in foster care. So as director, I saw these kids. I got to know these kids. I fought battles with and for these kids, and I walked alongside them. And I found myself often, like probably many of you, angry and broken on behalf of them so many times. And I would go home and I would say things to my husband like, our state is failing these kids. Our churches are failing these kids. And then eventually that anger and that brokenness would turn into conviction as we would look each other in the eye and we'd say, but we are the state. We are the church. And I would look at those kids and I would look at the darkness. Guys, it's dark out there. And I would just pray, Lord, send your light. Send your light into this darkness. And every time I would pray that, I would hear his words in Matthew saying, you are the light of the world. And so began our foster journey. And we fostered for several years while doing the work that we were doing until eventually one placement that we had for 2 years, we adopted him and he became our son. We continued the work in this field, training other families, advocating, speaking, doing trauma trainings, whatever we could do. And then eventually a few years ago, I discovered Connected Foster Care through Arkansas Baptist Children and Family Ministries, and I knew these private placement agencies, these organizations partnering with our state were going to change the state. And I said, I want to be a part of that. And I started doing work with them. But guys, last year, Marty and I found ourselves in a very familiar place of that anger and that passion and that brokenness burning, but this time more specifically for the sibling groups and the older kids. We didn't have the capacity. It made no sense. We're insane. But we had reopened our home in January. And in February, I haven't even told you this, Dr. Brown, we took in a 15-year-old who's on that heart gallery, who's been in 21 placements since 2018. And I will not stand here in front of you and say it's been easy. I will stand here in front of you and say we have been wrecked. We have been exhausted and stretched and bruised and hopeful and hopeless and excited and angry and all the things. But I can stand here and tell you that that girl is a different child than she was 3 months ago. And it's not because of the driver's license that she's gotten or the braces on her face or any of that. It's because she's had a human look at her, hold her, touch her, love her, and tell her that she is worth being in a family. And I know, guys, I know when we mention the word foster care, immediately, anywhere I go, I am met with an immediate criticism of the system. Oh, the system's broken. We're not getting in the system. And you know, they're not all wrong, because you know what? Kids were never meant to be raised by the system. The system cannot heal broken hearts. These kids don't need the system. The system is doing what they have to do because they need humans to step into it and meet these needs. And I just have to say on behalf of these kids, y'all, they're longing and they're waiting for someone to step in, to see them, to know them, to hold them, to speak to them. Yesterday morning, I found myself on my front porch with coffee, trying to have a quiet moment, y'all know? And these two kids came out to the porch with me. And it's a moment I'll never forget, because as I was thinking about this and preparing for this, I just started laughing because I looked next to me on either side, and there are these two kids whose skin tones don't match mine, who don't have my genes. One doesn't have my last name. But they have my home and my family and my heart. And there was not 1 second in that moment that I did not look at them and feel in my bones they are worth it. And so, is the system broken? Yes, it will always be, as long as the system's trying to fulfill human need. But just like I, as an educator, I'm going to step into a faulty education system anyway, and I'm going to teach anyway, because you know who's always going to be there? Kids. Regardless of policies passed, decisions made, and opinions and personal agendas we have, there are real children showing up every single day in the education system, and they need a real teacher, a real human to look them in their real eyes and teach their real hearts and their real minds. And if I don't do it, who will? And my husband, he's going to walk into a faulty healthcare system every day, regardless of policy, regardless of things he disagrees with, and he's going to show up anyway, because you know who's inside that system? Real humans with real sicknesses, real injuries, who need real help, real compassion, and real healing. And that's how I look at this system. Is, guys, can we as a state look beyond the broken system and see the broken children in the system? Can we look beyond and say, hey, as these systems will never be whole as long as they're trying to meet human needs? But can we see these children and say they are worth it? Now, is fostering hard? It's so dadgum hard. But do you know what's harder? Being a kid in foster care. Is the system broken? Sure. You know what's more broken? Those kids' hearts. And so I know you guys hear the horror stories of foster care. I know. Because that's what makes the news, that's what makes social media, that's what makes your gossip circles. But I stand here today, a decade long into this, and I am telling you right now, I'm asking you, look with your own eyes and listen with your own ears, because I think if you do, you're going to see within this system so much good, so much hope, so much healing, and so much possibility. There are so many organizations working together. I just had a moment with Director Wright, and we were standing here and looking out, and I just said, I've got to take this in for a minute, this room, this initiative, because this is what I have been praying over our state for 10 years. And 10 years ago, it didn't look like this. And y'all, it's happening. Healing is happening. And so I ask you and I challenge you to look within it and see the good, see the healing, because guys, I stand here and I tell you, restoration is happening. Redemption is happening. Families are being made whole. Healing is happening. And on behalf of these kids are not bad, they're injured. And neuroscience shows us injured brains can heal. And guys, I stand here to tell you, healing is happening. It is happening every single day. And so I invite you into that. And while this initiative is getting rolled out, and I have no doubt you guys all over the state will be looking at this, and you'll be watching, you'll be asking, hey, what's our state doing for these kids? What's my church doing for these kids? Can I humbly remind you, you are the state, and you are the church. So can I challenge you with this question when I say, hey, we're doing a lot, but what are you doing? Thank you.
I just want to say thank you again with sincere gratitude for coming today. Thank you, Governor. Thank you, Secretary Putnam. Dr. Brown, and Jordan for speaking today. This concludes our presentation.